Hi, this is Spiros for Programming Duck, and welcome back to another video. This video is on why you need to know about accessibility. So let's get right to it. There are many reasons why you need to know about it. Oh, and by the way, quick disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to talk about some legal things here, but that's just my current understanding of what things are like. And it is not legal advice. If you want proper legal advice about accessibility, you need to consult a lawyer. So that's just a quick disclaimer, but let's just get right to it. Why should you know, rather why you need to know about accessibility? One reason right away is that jobs may require it. So for example, for previous positions that I have personally applied for, I was asked questions about accessibility. So that is, one reason about you and your career, but it's not a reason in and of itself of why you should know about accessibility. So we have more. Let's go over those as well. The next reason is because accessibility is a legal requirement in many countries around the world. It's a legal requirement in Europe. It's a legal requirement in USA. And I'm sorry, it's a legal requirement in many countries around the world. And what that means is that someone has to know about them, because thousands of companies are getting sued every year for accessibility related issues. And it's the front-end developers that determine whether a website or any kind of web content is accessible or not. So it's a legal requirement that says that you, the front-end developer, basically have to know about them. Because if you don't, well, who else will? Again, you're the one whose work determines whether a website is accessible or not. It's up to you. So, that's another reason. Another reason, and this is the moral reason, is that it's the right thing to do. Making sure that your web content is accessible by everyone, regardless of disabilities, is the morally right thing to do. You don't want to discriminate willfully or accidentally against people with disabilities. You don't want to exclude people from your web content. So, that's the other reason. It's the morally correct thing to do. But we have more reasons still. If you know about accessibility, you bring a lot of good benefits to your employer, to the company that employed you, or if you're making your own digital product, to that product. And there are a few. First of all, you make accessibility better for the product. You make the development process more efficient for your product. And third, you save the company money. And there are a few reasons why this happens. So first of all, about the point about you make accessibility better. This one is easy to imagine how. If you know about accessibility, and if you weren't there, then no one else would know about accessibility, then obviously you can bring that knowledge into your project and make the product more accessible. So obviously you make it better like that. Another option which some big companies do is they hire third-party accessibility specialists to audit the website and to tell them how to improve the accessibility of the website. And that's fine. But if you also know about accessibility, then, that's double the effort going into accessibility. It means that less things will be missed because, if you miss something, they'll catch it. And if they miss something, then you will catch it. It's better to have two people doing a code review, for example, than one person. It becomes more thorough. Taking aside the possibility of conflict and whatnot, in most real situations, it should be better to have two teams looking at accessibility than one team. The next point is that it makes everything more efficient. Because, well, consider this. If you don't know about accessibility, then the company is going to hire the third-party specialists because they must. It's a legal requirement. So here's how the process is going to go, and it's quite a big waste of time. So the specialists will audit the website. That's like step one. They'll find issues with the website. That's step two. They'll write reports about those issues and instructions to developers. That's step three. They'll give those findings, those reports to the product owners or whatever it is, or maybe to the developers directly. That's step four. Step five, the developer will pick an issue to fix from the accessibility issues. That's step five. So they start a story. They develop the story. They test the story for ages. It has to go through code review. QA needs to test it. And then after they're done, the specialists need to test it again, right? That's a big waste of time, because for you, if you know about accessibility, you can handle almost all of the accessibility issues yourself in minutes. As you're developing a story, it's like, oh, does this label have the correct content, right? Are you using semantic HTML? Are you doing this and that? It takes minutes for you to do that as you're developing. But if you don't do that during your development time, it doesn't take minutes, it takes days, because the multi-step process we went through is a multi-day process. So if you know about accessibility, then it makes everything more efficient. And finally, it's cheaper for the company if you know about accessibility than if they're forced to hire the third-party specialists. Because, well, just consider this. It takes you minutes to do the accessibility work, as we said. So you do 90% of the accessibility work or more, you might do all of it. You do 90% of it in minutes, right? So now the company hires a specialist to do a comprehensive audit. That's fine. But the specialists find 5 issues, not 50 issues. And finally, those 5 issues are probably small things because you've paid attention to the majority of the stuff, to the majority of the big issues. So now the company doesn't need the specialists for as long. Maybe they need them for a month, not for 6 months, which, according to common sense, that means that they're probably a lot cheaper. You save the company money. And those 3 points that we talked about, better accessibility, more efficient development, and cheaper, it makes you more valuable to the company and to your product. The next point is that you should already be 80% of the way there with accessibility. The greatest thing you can do for the accessibility of your web content is to make sure that you are using correct semantic HTML. If you're working on the front end, that is something that you must do anyway. That is one of your duties. That is one of the reasons why you are hired. It's because you can do this and other non-technical people can't do it. So in summary, you already know, or at least you already should know, 80% of everything you need to know about accessibility. Then you only have the remaining 20% to learn, which, in all fairness, doesn't take very long. For you to be compliant, I think you can learn it quite quickly. So you might as well. So that's another reason. And finally, anything you learn about accessibility will help. Okay, so you don't need to spend 3 months doing intensive studying on accessibility. Even if you just spend an hour or 2, you will still gain tremendous value and you'll still be able to improve your project significantly. So I think the point I'm trying to make with this one is just do it. Just spend a few hours, learn accessibility, and you'll be much better off for it. Okay, so that's it. So that's this video. If I missed anything, then please let me know in the comments. So if you like this video, then please click the like button. If you want to see more of these kinds of videos in the future, then please subscribe. It really helps the channel when you do those things. And finally, if you have any comments, any counter arguments, any suggestions, or anything else, then please leave a comment below. All right, thanks very much and see you next time.